Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today I'm going to be making my 10 bold predictions for the 2022 NHL season. Now the 2022 season is right around the corner, and with last year's bold predictions video actually doing pretty well predictions wise, looking back on it, I want to make a new bold predictions video for the 2022 season because I think there's going to be a lot that goes down and a lot of unpredictability that happens in 2022. But what are my 10 bold predictions for the 2022 NHL season, and what do I see as the most unpredictable and crazy things to go down in 2022. Watch till the end for every single bold prediction, and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are new. 60% of the people that are watching are not subscribed. If you like hockey, this channel is, simply put, the place to be. Now, just like last year's predictions, I don't want to go boring with these bold predictions. I want to go as bold as humanly possible and just try to predict what chaos we could see in the 2022 season. Now, dating back to that last video last year, I got 9 predictions out of 31 correct. Those predictions were the Coyotes finished top 5 in the West, McAvoy finishes top 5 in the Norris voting, Blackhawks goaltending won't be bottom 5, Joe Pavelski will lead Dallas in points, Detroit won't be a bottom 2 team in the standings, Kaprizov and Fiala get a 65 points plus pace. Allen will have a better save percentage than Carey Price. San Jose finishes bottom 3 in the West again, and Jordan Binnington finishes around a 905 save percentage. All of those 9 predictions were pretty alright, and even though there were some really bad ones like Patrick Laine reaching 50 goals with the Jets, still I got some pretty big bangers, so we'll hope for some more of that in today's video. But to get us started with the 10 bold predictions for the 2022 NHL season, we are going to start out with the first bold prediction on today's list. And for my first bold prediction, I predict that Jack Eichel will not get traded until the 2022 NHL trade deadline. Now, with the Jack Eichel situation being as clear as it's been, I'm going to give a pretty good timetable on when Jack Eichel will actually get dealt. With him not starting the season, of course, due to that injury, I don't think we're going to see a trade really until we know what Jack Eichel's health is really looking like, and I doubt that a lot of teams that even want to make a move until we know that surgery can be done. But right now, the Buffalo Sabres, if I was them as a depleting asset, I would have Jack Eichel get the surgery he wants and then have the ability to trade him with his value, with him being healthy during the season or during the NHL trade deadline. But I do see the trade deadline being where Jack Eichel officially gets dealt. I doubt this situation goes beyond that, and quite frankly, for all teams involved, everybody involved, is the exact worst position of all time. So for me, I see him being dealt at the trade deadline, probably to a team like the New York Rangers or the LA Kings or some team that is in that race that wants to add somebody big for the now and the future. But I see Jack Eichel being a guy that trade deadline wise is the really big fish. We'll see if the surgery situation is actually solved by then, but I think a resolution will come at the trade deadline, whether it's pretty or not for the Buffalo Sabres. But I do see Jack Eichel being traded during the season and likely at the very least not being traded before the season starts. I just don't see that happening, especially with how many question marks are surrounding Jack Eichel's health at this current time. But next up, we're going to move on to the second bold prediction for the 2022 NHL season. And next up, I have a hugely bold one. This could definitely blow up on my face, so just keep that in mind. But going on to my second bold prediction, for my next prediction, I predict that the Washington Capitals will get a top 3 pick in the 2022 NHL draft. Now, I had the Washington Capitals missing the playoffs just barely in my standings predictions, but I'm even more convinced that Washington will miss the playoffs this coming year. Mostly because, again, the question marks when it comes to defense and goaltending are still there, in my opinion. Even with Evgeny Kuznetsov as well, who has wanted outs, doesn't want to be in Washington, at least at this point, and a trade never seemed to have happened. So there's a lot of question marks, in my opinion, with Washington, and I just don't really see it all coming together in the 2022 season. I see them missing the playoffs, but being a team that jumps up big in the draft lottery. Now, they can only jump up 10 spots, so I think they'll kind of finish around that 12th or 13th spot and then jump up as high as they possibly can, but I do see Washington getting a top 3 pick and being one of the best teams positionally in the draft. They could get a guy like a Shane Wright or a Brad Lambert. That would fix a lot of their problems. Imagine Washington with Shane Wright going forward. Alex Ovechkin is beating Wayne Gretzky's goal record 110% if they can get a talent like that back on the franchise. But again, for me, I just don't see this next season being a season that's all too successful for Washington, and especially in that crowded Metro division. I see it being a division that just Washington can't really compete in long-term perform throughout the rest of this year. But next up, we're going to move on to my third bold prediction for the 2022 NHL season. And next up, I have one for the Calder Trophy. Now, I'm not sure how bold this is. It might be bold for some people, maybe tame for others. But for my third bold prediction, I have the Calder Trophy winner being from the Detroit Red Wings, Moritz Seider. Now, I'm going to say this right now. Again, for others, it might be bold. For others, it might be what you guys are predicting. But for me, I don't really see Moritz Seider getting a lot of credit for actually potentially winning the Calder Trophy. I know a lot of people have him in the conversation to maybe be in the top 5, top 3. But I don't see many people besides Red Wings fans predicting him to actually win the Calder Trophy. To me, it's between Cole Caulfield and Moritz Seider for this upcoming season. Trevor Zegras also has a pretty big likelihood of being in that race as well. But to me, I think Moritz Seider will win the Norris Trophy. I think, or not the Norris. Eventually, he'll probably win the Norris because he's a Butte, but I think he will win the Calder Trophy, mostly because of the opportunity that's in Detroit. They don't really have many big guys, and I think Moritz Seider could also fit in pretty well alongside Nick Leddy, perhaps. I think there's a lot of potential there, but I think in his rookie season, a lot of it comes down to opportunity and being given the ice time, and I think Moritz Seider is ready for the NHL ice time, and he's ready to get that big role, which Detroit obviously has. Same thing was kind of the case with Cale Makar with the Colorado Avalanche in his rookie season, also Quinn Hughes with Vancouver, especially when it comes to rookie D-man. They need the opportunity to really flourish, and I do think when it comes to Moritz Seider, he will get that in Detroit. I think he'll have a fantastic rookie season and will win the Calder Trophy, though I do think Cole Caulfield is going to be a very, very close second place. But now we're going to move on to probably one of my boldest predictions and boldest takes in today's video, but we're going to move on to the fourth bold prediction, and going on to my next prediction, I predict that multiple GMs will get fired mid-season. Now, this rarely happens. The last time, or the most recent time, was Jeff Gordon with the New York Rangers, but I see there being a lot of pressure on a ton of teams, especially in the US, to make the playoffs and to get that extra playoff revenue with how much they lost during the pandemic, and I see that being the case for a lot of teams this next season. Mostly the Calgary Flames, the Nashville Predators, and the Washington Capitals, I think, are the three teams that'll miss the playoffs and change their GMs mid-season, but also the San Jose Sharks could maybe be one of those teams as well, potentially, but I see there being a lot of teams that could maybe make a move, not just with the GM, but with the coach as well. But again, there's a lot of expectations on a lot of teams to get those extra playoff revenues going, and a lot of teams will end up missing the playoffs as usual, which leads to some big changes, I think, in the front offices. But again, especially the Flames, who, with Brad Treliving, he should have been fired a long time ago. David Poyle's kind of in a weird position as well with the Preds and might be on his way out. Brian McClellan, if the Capitals miss the playoffs, it would be a huge disappointment and he might be gone. So there's a lot of teams that I think could go in that direction, but most notably the Flames, the Preds, and the Capitals, I think could see some major changes throughout 2022. But now I'm going to move on to my fifth bold prediction of the 2022 season, and this might be the bold prediction that I believe in the most for this next season. Going on to my fifth bold prediction, I predict that Freddy Anderson will have the worst starting goaltender numbers since Scott Darling in 2018, where he got an .888 save percentage. This, to me, is a prediction that I think could legitimately come true. And to me, the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be rather disappointing this next year, and it's mostly because of that goaltending. Even though I think Ronta might still be okay, I think Freddy Anderson is going to be absolutely horrible for them, and again, will be the worst goaltender starting-wise since Scott Darling back in 2018 with the Canes as well. I really don't know what the Canes are doing goaltending-wise. They were at first going in a more cheap direction, but decided to sign Freddy Anderson for $4.5 million for 2 years, which is absolutely stupid. I think when it comes to Carolina and when it comes to Freddy Anderson, it's been obvious these past couple of years that his body is just way past starting goaltender quality. He's had injuries, he's had inconsistencies. He was horrible even in the AHL when he was playing with the Marlies. I just don't see it working out whatsoever, and for $4.5 million, it's just absolutely laughable that the Carolina Hurricanes would actually do this. But now we're going to go on to my sixth bold prediction for the 2022 season, and this might be my most foolish bold prediction in today's video, but you know what? If at least one person's got to believe in the Buffalo Sabres at least once. Going on my sixth bold prediction, my bold prediction here is that the Buffalo Sabres will not finish bottom 3 in the standings this season. Now, not finishing bottom 3 means something. I think they'll finish at the 4th spot, or the 4th lowest spot in the NHL, but I don't think they'll finish bottom 3. I think the 3 teams, in my opinion, that'll be at that bottom are the Arizona Coyotes, and I think the Blue Jackets will be underratedly bad. Not really because they're like this great team that disappoints, but because Columbus is going in that rebuilding direction, I think they'll have a lot of trades as well during the trade deadline. That'll mean those last couple of months are just horrible for them. But I see the Buffalo Sabres surprising quite a few people, mostly because the expectations are just not there at all. And I think Buffalo can finally have just at least a little bit of freedom there. I think some players will surprise quite a bit. I think Ukko-Pekka can make that jump. Casey Middlestat, I think, is going to have a great year. Dylan Cousins will have a much better year. You could have guys like Jack Quinn coming into the fold as well. I think Buffalo is going to surprise some people in terms of the actual quality. In terms of the team on the ice, sure, on paper, they're the worst team in the league, but I do see them doing a little bit better and having some pretty good stretches in the second half, being a feisty team, and I do see Don Granato having a lasting effect during 2022. And now we're going to advance on to my 7th bold prediction for the 2022 NHL season. And next up, I'm going to have a bold prediction for the leading point scorer in 2022. And a lot of you guys might see Nathan MacKinnon or Connor McDavid, and those are perfectly acceptable options. But for me, I have a little bit of an under-the-radar pick who I think will do fantastic in both the regular season and the playoffs, and will eventually lead his team to the Stanley Cup. In my opinion, the leading point scorer in the regular season will be Alexander Barkov. Now, he was 10th in points per game last year, and now he's adding Sam Reinhart onto his wing. And although Verhaeghe and Duclair are great line mates, now having Sam Reinhart, I think, gives Barkov some more versatility, even offensively, to do what he truly wants. And I think when it comes to Barkov, his defense was much better last year, but I think he can focus on the offense even more. I think if he does, he could be able to get into that top 5 scoring, maybe top 3, and maybe even lead the league in points. Although betting against Connor McDavid is foolish right now, and again, it might be, I think Barkov is going to absolutely light the league on fire and will have the best season he will have in his entire NHL career. Next up, we're going to move on to my next bold prediction, my 8th bold prediction, and move on to another bold prediction that centers around an award voting. And next up, I'm going to move on to the Boston Bruins, and I'm going to predict that starting goaltender Linus Ullmark will actually end up winning the Vezina Trophy. Now, I've talked about this in the past. When it comes to Boston, I think Linus Ullmark is a fantastic pick, and even though he hasn't shown close to a Vezina Trophy level yet, still being over a 500 record with the Buffalo Sabres and looking pretty good, I think it is an accomplishment, and I think in a whole new setting with Boston's great defense, I think Linus Ullmark will absolutely thrive, and especially with guys like Tuukka Rask maybe coming onto the team later on, and Swayman being a solid young backup, I think also Linus Ullmark won't be dependent upon 100% of the time, which gives him some leeway to be even better in the games he actually does end up playing. But to me, I think Ullmark will absolutely break through in a special way and will be the league's best goaltender, or at least be the Vezina winner this next season. Now, we were talking earlier about foolish bold predictions. I might be making another one here. We're going to move on to my 9th bold prediction, and it's going to center around the Philadelphia Flyers. I gotta say this right now. There's no real actual reason why I'm predicting this, but I think the Philadelphia Flyers, for my 9th bold prediction, will have a top 10 defense in the NHL this year. Again, it's not because I think the defense on paper is so much better than it was. I just think there's going to be a lot of silly stuff going around, and Rasmus Dahlin is going to drink some special magic juice and become an absolute defensive god out of nowhere. I think Ryan S will have a solid year for them, and hey, at least the defense will be better. Hopefully, Gostisbehere and hopefully Provorov will be better defensively, and I think the defense will be better as a complete whole. Again, I don't think they're adding a super great defensive stud or anything, and that's why they have a greater defense. I think a lot of chaos is going to go on in 2022, and the Flyers defense will be a big example of that. Now, I was just talking about a foolish bold prediction. No, this next one, this 10th bold prediction, is absolute fact and will 110% happen in the 2022 NHL season. This is a guaranteed one. You can basically just pack it in. This isn't even a bold prediction. This is going to happen 110% of the time, so there's no need to even debate it whatsoever in the comments. No way at all. But we're now going to move on to the 10th bold prediction, and for my final and 10th bold prediction, I predict that Alexis Lafreniere will be around a point per game in the 2022 NHL season. Now, he might not be a point per game, but I think he could get around 65, 70, maybe even 75 points in this next upcoming season. I think Alexis Lafreniere is going to break out big on that first line with Mika Zibanejad. I think that's what you'll most likely see to start out, at least in 2022. But having Gerard Gallant there as another French Canadian, I think will definitely help Lafreniere's development now and in the future. And again, around point per game is what I'm projecting right now. A fantastic season for Lafreniere and a great start to his NHL career, or a great second start. We forget about his rookie season. That totally did not happen. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell to get notified when we make new live streams and new videos all the time. Make sure you comment down below what do you agree and disagree with my bold predictions, and what is your bold prediction for the 2022 NHL season. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments down below. Of course, share this video with your friends, get it out there, and click on this card right here to watch all of my predictions and picks videos right in one playlist. My name is Nathan. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Goodbye.